While Albert was busy talking to the doctor, Natalia found her way over to the guardhouse, where Ian was staying. The building was about twice as large as the guest house, but in terms of configuration, it was the same. One partition functioned as a kitchen, dining room, and living room. The other was a large bedroom with 4 beds for the guards. There were only 2 guards in the living room when she entered. They gave her brief looks but did not stop her. With the description Katrina had given her just before her walk here, Natalia pushed apart the curtain to the bedroom and walked in, hoping to find the man called Ian. The place was empty except for a single man sitting on one of the wooden chairs, his legs raised, boots resting on the foot of the nearest bed. He fit Katrina's description perfectly, short and stocky with long brown hair, longer than Natalia's, unkempt beard and mustache, well built. Besides his boots, he was dressed in blue jeans and a faded and worn-out wife-beater. To Natalia, he seemed to have the confident, relaxed demeanor of someone who knew the dangers of the world and yet remained unperturbed by it. He gave a small smile on noticing her entry and got up. He was around the same height as her.
Hello, stranger. You look like you're new here.
I'm Natalia,
she said, shaking his hand.
Good to meet you. I'm Ian.
Katrina says you're the person to talk to if I wanted to learn more about the outside world.
She wasn't mistaken. I'm the only one here who's ever really left town. Blame that more on the raiders and rad scorpions that keep the townspeople close to home than anything else, though.
Could you tell me more about them? Aradesh has tried to recruit us to help out with the rat scorpion problem. Knowing the dangers they pose would certainly help us make a decision.
You haven't heard of rad scorpions or raiders? Where have you been all your life?
In a cave.
One of those vault people then. Have you seen the rest of Shady Sands?
Natalia shook her head.
Give me a moment to change my bandages, then I'll show you the town and explain everything you need to know.
As Natalia waited, Ian proceeded to change his dressings. Either entirely unconscious or conscious and deliberate about it, Ian pulled off his vest, revealing not only some stained white bandages taped around the left side of his midsection, but also the rippling muscles of his upper body. Natalia instinctively looked away, trying not to show her embarrassment at his disregard for what she considered standard norms of modesty.
Haven't you ever seen a half-naked man before?
She heard him saying. She looked up to find that he had noticed her averted gaze. He began disinfecting a half-healed wound on his torso with a clean cloth and a bottle of alcohol. She found she didn't know how to answer.
Never had sex either then.
Natalia was silent, realizing that her face was growing redder by the second.
That's okay. I'm not judging you for it,
he said as he taped a fresh bandage over his wound.
Stick around in the wasteland long enough and you'll get plenty of both, I guarantee it. All the pre-war notions you vault dwellers still hold so dear will fly out the window in a second.
So, how did you get injured?
She asked, desperate to change the topic.
Well, I used to be a guard for the merchants of the hub,
he said, as if she had heard of the place countless times before.
But I was shot during a raid by bandits a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Thanks. It's been healing up well, thanks to Razlo.
He finished with his first aid administrations and got dressed again, pulling on a black leather jacket over his white vest.
Shall we?
He led the way out of the guardhouse.
I can't tell you too much about the rad scorpions,
he said as they walked out of the main entrance to town and headed southwest along the runway to where she could see small plots of farmland being tended by some of the townspeople.
They don't appear so much in the south, so the only encounters I've had with them have mostly been while I was recuperating here. All I can say is they're huge, have poisonous stingers in their tails and are very quick, and their carapaces are extremely tough. If you're going to try your hand at hunting them, make sure you have some APs.
APs? What are those?
Do you have a gun?
I left it in the guest house.
Never, ever leave your house unarmed. As long as you're in the wasteland, you always need to be able to defend yourself. The wasteland is an unpredictable place. Scorpions and raiders aren't the only hostile beings you're likely to meet. What kind of a gun is it?
Natalia's mind zipped back to her one reading of the Guns and Bullets magazine she and Albert had looked at just after exiting Vault 13.
It's a Colt 6.5 2010 millimeter,
she said almost automatically.
Like yours.
she added, indicating the firearm he had holstered at his side. Ian nodded.
Good. Always know your weapons. Know what ammo goes with what gun. Know how to maintain each weapon. Know how to troubleshoot weapon jams and other technical problems.
He fished into one of his jacket pockets and pulled out a clip of 10mm bullets.
The ones you have in your Colt are probably standard JHP jacketed hollow points. Those are designed to expand to as large a size as possible to translate the most energy to the target. Unfortunately, that makes them almost useless against anyone or anything with some kind of armor. Most of the energy would just splatter against the armor plates with little effect on the target. What I have in this clip are AP, armor-piercing rounds. These ones won't expand at all, but they have excellent penetration. If you're going up against the Scorpions, you'll want these in your chamber.
Ian handed her the magazine, which she pocketed gratefully.
Anything else about rad Scorpions you'll have to learn from Raslo.
They arrived at the agricultural fields, what Ian called the gardens, and they stopped for Natalia to take a closer look at the work being done there. It appeared that two kinds of vegetables dominated the fields. The first were some kind of mutated pale green cabbages. The second were yellow-green corn stalks. Judging by the look, both seemed to be thriving in the warm weather.
They seem to have all their fields planted.
Natalia observed.
What of it?
Ian asked.
Well, they could probably do better with crop rotation.
What's that?
You only plant some of the fields, allowing the others to get back some of the nutrients that the plants used up. You let the other fields become fertile again by just tilling up whatever grows there.
Huh. Were you a farmer in a previous life?
Said Ian, impressed.
Just one of the few things I actually learned while I was in the vault.
Well, it makes sense to me. You should let Curtis know.
Ian gestured to a man bent double in the thick of one of the fields. Presumably, he was in charge of Shady Sands agriculture. As Ian was speaking, Natalia chose that moment to abruptly walk off through the fields. Taken by surprise, Ian broke into a small jog to catch up with her. Then he saw what had caught her attention. Located in the middle of the fields was the town well, operated by a rudimentary but functional bucket and pulley system. Natalia peered down into its depths.
Is this where all the water for the town comes from?
It's enough to provide the town's needs. Why do you ask?
The reason my friends and I are out here in the wasteland is that our vault's water purification computer chip has malfunctioned. We were sent out to look for another one in Vault 15, though I hear that that search won't be as straightforward as we were originally led to believe.
You looking for alternative water supplies?
I was. But what you have here is too little to supply an entire vault.
Not to mention you'd have to organize and coordinate frequent water caravans between your vault and Shady Sands.
That was part of the purpose. Our overseer, he's not particularly keen on interacting with the world outside our vault. If we could get the vault involved in necessary and regular trading with other communities out here, it might help him see that there is some good to the outside world after all. But all this is moot, I guess.
Well, we may not have enough water to do that, but there are a bunch of merchants down south in the hub who deal almost exclusively in water. If you don't find what you seek in Vault 15, that might be a second option, if only to give your vault more time.
You mentioned this hub earlier. Is it another town like Shady Sands?
Much larger. The hub is basically a big trading center far south of here. It's run by several caravan groups of merchants. The water merchants, the Crimson Caravan, and the Far Go traders. But it's a long walk from here. If you stick to the main roads, which is usually advisable if you want to avoid facing off with the hostile wildlife, it could take you almost 11 days from here. Most people break the journey into two parts, by stopping over at Junktown, which is on the way. Junktown's smaller, but still a good place to drop in for a drink. It's overseen by a fellow by the name of Killian Darkwater, the local shopkeeper, sheriff, and mayor.
Natalia pulled up her map of the West Coast on her Pip-Boy and had Ian point out the locations of the other 2 towns.
You know, with all these dangers we may be facing, it could help to have someone like you with us. Your experience would be invaluable,
she said. Storing the information on the mini-computer, she cast him a sideways glance. His look said it all, but she let him speak his piece.
That sounds like quite an offer. But I do owe the people here something since they helped me recover. My knowledge of the outside world and my experience make me useful here just as much as it does out in the wasteland. Besides, they keep me well fed. Before this, I had to risk my life in order to earn enough to put bread on the table, so to speak.
You know what that sounds like to me?
She asked rhetorically.
It sounds like you've gone soft.
Ian registered surprise on his face for the first time. He looked up at her to find her smirking. He smiled back.
You're very perceptive, too perceptive even.
You just don't seem like the kind of person who would be happy guarding a small and remote town, far away from the hustle and bustle of the main trade routes for the rest of your life. Let me put it this way. I don't know what the future holds in store for us. If we find the chip at Vault 15, we'll go home to our own vault, at least for a time, and that will be the end of that. If so, you can just as easily return here, but at least you'll have new stories to add to your collection. I mean, how many people have you met who can say they climbed down into the depths of the remnants of an aged vault? We could really use your experience and guidance, Ian.